Hello and welcome to the Citi Newsroom from our studios at number 5, Ugula Hansen Lane at Tesano. I'm Frima Edunyame. Coming up. Vice President of America Kamala Harris pledges the U.S. government's support to build a slavery museum close to the Cape Coast Castle in the central region.
There is a plan to build a slavery museum, and we want you to be part of that museum.
I have now appointed you, Madam Ambassador, to be an official liaison to His Highness and to this extraordinary group of global leaders, and then let us figure out the next steps.
8 persons reported dead after a boat headed for Pajoti, a community near the Krato West District, capsized on the Oti River.
The boat in our fund was about 15 or 16, including children. We lost 4 of the children, including them.
Also in the bulletin, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources refused report that government owes some seedling providers over 2.5 billion cedis for supplying seedlings for the tree planting exercise during the 2021-2022 Green Ghana Day celebrations.
To understand the magnitude of it, please, we don't owe anyone 2.5 billion. Yes, government owes for 2021 and 2022 in all is 28 million Ghana cedis. So where from that 2.5 billion?
And later, Electricity Company of Ghana disconnects 3 blocks at the Osu barracks of the Ghana Police Service, as well as the head office of Ghana Post over illegal connection.
Our debts are chasing us just as we are chasing our customers too. Be kind enough to pay some of the monies or all the monies they owe us, because we need to settle most of the people who generate power for us and those on the value chain, essentially.
Now, in our first story, the Ogwamanhene Osaberima Kwesi Atta II wants the U.S. government to support in the building of a slavery museum close to the Cape Coast Castle in the central region. Now, according to him, this will help preserve artifacts from the transatlantic slave trade and tell the slave trade story proper. Our central regional correspondent, Calvis Tete, has more in this report.
The Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris, touched down in Cape Coast at around 3 p.m. on Tuesday to a rousing welcome and was later received by the Ogwamanhene Osaberima Kwesi Atta II and some other important dignitaries within the region. Osaberima Kwesi Atta II, while addressing the Vice President of the U.S., Kamala Harris, and her delegation, indicated that there is a need for her to use her high office to support the building of a slave museum where artifacts from the slave trade will be kept to help tell the story of the transatlantic slave trade proper. Osaberima Kwesi Atta II indicated that the project, when constructed, will be the legacy project of the Vice President of the United States.
We want you to organize a reciprocal visit to the United States where, we are talking, but we want this talk to be turned into something more concrete. That's why we are asking reciprocal visit to concretize what we are talking about so that Cape Coast will also be strong. Again, just across the road from here, there is a plan to build a slavery museum, and we want you to be part of that museum. This will tell the whole story of the African transatlantic slavery trade. And if that is done, and the time comes for cutting the ribbon to declare it open, we will invite you to come and do that. At least that will be your legacy project for the whole of Africa. I'm not going to speak much, but we appreciate you. We appreciate your visit, and this will be a living memory in our minds throughout ages. Enjoy yourself in Cape Coast, and on your agenda, we want you to at least appoint a liaison officer to connect with us so that maybe next month, next 2 months, this month you will not be, but next 2 months we will be preparing to come and pay this reciprocal visit to concretize matters.
Central Regional Minister Marigold Hassan, who chaired the occasion, believes the visit of the Vice President should be an avenue for the U.S. government to invest $1 million in education and youth programming in Africa over a period of 2 years, adding that government's free SHS policy has in diverse ways opened up access to children in deprived communities to have access to education.
Her Excellency, coincidentally, the divine in you, which led you to choose Cape Coast to visit Ghana's tourism and educational hub. That's where you are now. It is not by chance, because we believe your visit will also mark the beginning of further engagement on how our country is going to work together. We could tap into your government's push to invest $1 million in education and youth programming in Africa within the next 2 years. Our flagship program, Free High School Education, since its inception, has opened up access to children in disadvantaged or needy homes across the country. Coupled with our commitment to strengthening and promoting educational interest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, we believe support through the proposed investment in Africa will strengthen us to prepare our children for today and tomorrow's highly technological environments. Ghanaian schools have been participating in international robotics competition and doing quite well. We can only consolidate our gains in partnership with the United States of America. Women empowerment, for which I know you stand for that. And I'm so happy to be part of today's ceremony. I love you so much, and we know that by the time you are done with this program, we are going to have a very beautiful program for our women, to have more women to participate in leadership positions. This year, we will be electing representatives to the General Assemblies of our local authorities in Ghana. In Ghana, we have 261 local authorities across our 16 administrative regions, and we have classified them as either metropolitan, municipal, or district assemblies. Elections at the grassroots level are very familiar to you. Her Excellency, you have gone through the mill. We have a commitment to promote increased women participation in district-level elections, increase women representation at the decision-making table. On behalf of people and women in Ghana, we would be grateful to you, your government, and team for any form of support that would help support women to present themselves to be heard and to be the voices for the marginalized and all voiceless in their communities. We believe that when women are involved in governance, we have goddesses who will protect the legal interests of all and push for the transformative development. Establishing sister cities for mutual economic benefits. Sustainable Development Goal 17 places emphasis on partnerships for development. That is true. We are not islands unto ourselves, and we cannot achieve much without holding hands. I'm aware that some cities or districts in Ghana have cities relationships with the USA, and we want to suggest that we look at constructive support. This partnership can develop new ones that will also facilitate utilization of the competitive advantages of each for mutual economic benefits. For example, the city of Cape Coast may establish a partnership with a city in the USA focused on tourism and education. And as we promote the diaspora agenda of the government of His Excellency the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we would also implement strategies that would facilitate positive connections, leading to transformative socioeconomic standards of our people.
Vice President Kamala Harris noted that her visit is a remarkable one aimed at building stronger partnership between the U.S. and Ghana, adding that history is something that should not be taken for granted, hence we'll take action on the request made.
Well, the first thing I will say is I will now officially appoint a liaison. The ambassador to Ghana, who is here with us, I have now appointed you, Madam Ambassador, to be an official liaison to His Highness and to this extraordinary group of global leaders, and then let us figure out the next steps. But I do appreciate the points that you have made, and there is an unmistakable tie and bond, and all relationships that are good relationships are founded on trust and consistency and reciprocity. And so I appreciate the points you have made, and we will follow up with your request. How could I deny a request from my host? I've been raised properly, you know. But it is my honor, and with my husband and our delegation, to be here. And I appreciate the accommodations and the effort that you have made to welcome us so warmly. I too believe that we must remember history for many reasons, especially in the face of, at times, those who would attempt to deny it. And we must teach it, but teach it also with an understanding that it should teach us not only about our past, but about our destiny and our future. That we must learn from it in a way that we make the ancestors proud and understand the broad shoulders upon which we stand. So I thank you for the spirit with which you have welcomed me and my husband and our delegation. I request your ability for me to see the lands that you oversee and to visit the place that you have not mentioned, but the place I will go next. And I must say that there is so much that you, Minister, and Your Highness have mentioned about Ghana and by extension the continent that gives me an incredible sense of optimism. And the work that you have done here in terms of prioritizing and having such success with education is something that in my own country of the United States and around the globe we know must be a greater priority for all of us. And that includes using that education as a way to help people around the globe understand the connections and the interconnections and the interdependence by extension. So I am honored to be here and to be with you, and I look forward, as you greeted me, to saying this will not be the last time we meet or speak. And again, thank you for the warm welcome, and to everyone, thank you for the welcome.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has called for intentional creation of opportunities for women. Now, on day 3 of her visit, she engaged a crowd of students drawn from various universities at the Black Star Square in Accra. Charles Owusu-Kumi covered the event for us and joins us with a report. Charles, tell us more.
Right, Frema. The Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, says the African continent must ensure the economic empowerment of its women.
Disparities we must all address. On the continent of Africa, we know women grow a majority of the food, yet they are less likely to own the land they farm. They represent a majority of frontline healthcare workers, but face disparities in health outcomes. Women are entrepreneurs, yet have limited access to capital and markets. They are peacemakers and bridge builders, yet continue to be underrepresented at the tables where decisions are being made. And there are many factors that impact a woman's ability to survive and thrive. One of those is economic empowerment. And when we lift up the economic status of a woman, let's be clear, we lift up the economic status of her children, her family, her community, the entire economy benefits. So know that the United States of America will work alongside our partners each and every day to close gender gaps here and around the world.
According to the World Economic Forum, 60% of Africa's population is under 25 years. It is also estimated that by the year 2050, 1 in 4 people on Earth will be living on the African continent. With a growing youthful population, the continent is expected to continue playing a major role in world affairs. The United States Vice President is confident that investing in the digital infrastructure of Africa is important for growth.
And to be clear, America will be guided not by what we can do for our African partners, but what we can do with our African partners. Together, we will address the challenges we face and the incredible opportunities ahead. And today, I will speak about one particular area of opportunity: investment in innovation. Innovation, I believe, to be the pursuit of what can be, unburdened by what has been. Innovation results in one's ability not only to see, but to do things differently. And so we must invest in the African ingenuity and creativity, which will unlock incredible economic growth and opportunities, not only for the people of the 54 countries that make up this diverse continent, but for the American people and people around the world.
Tuesday's crowd was predominantly young people. Some of them expressed optimism for the future after their engagement with the U.S. Vice President.
I think what really stood out for me was the Vice President's commitment to human rights issues, inclusiveness, and then women's empowerment. In all her speeches I have listened, she's been very consistent on her position regarding these issues and the investments and policies U.S. government is contributing globally to ensure that inequalities and discrimination against women are addressed. So for me, I think this is the best time to be a woman in the history of the world, because this is the time that all development partners are acting together to support women. There's been a lot of systems and investment really to support women. So I challenge all women out there to put themselves out there. Come outside of your comfort zone, try something new, do something new, and you have the whole world to support you.
So it's about time. Women taking their seats in agriculture, women taking their seats in health, their seats when it comes to health care. Women taking the part about women empowerment is what's in to me so much. And I think the entirety of the speeches, it's about time for women, yes. And to me, that alone, she is the first in many instances. She's breaking the glass ceiling, and I think she's an inspiration to a lot of young women.
And what stood out to me was what she said about women empowerment. I enjoyed what she said, that when you invest in the economic development of a woman, it leads to the economic development of the community, of her children, and also of her family, and how investing in African creativity can drive innovation. With women at the center of that, I think Africa has hope, and we can dream with ambition and lead with conviction.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has been in the country since Sunday. She held meetings with President Akufo-Addo on Monday, where she promised her country's commitment to ensuring that Ghana is able to deal with the current debt and economic crisis. On day 3 of this historical visit, young people from around the country were gathered here at the Black Star Square to listen to her speak. And in her speech, she promoted the value of the African continent in world affairs today and especially for the future. She expressed the U.S.'s commitment to partnering with African governments to ensure development on the continent. For Citi News, my name is Charles Osukumi, reporting from the Black Star Square here in Accra.
You're still live on the Citi Newsroom with me, Frema Edunyame. Still to come. 8 persons reported dead after a boat headed for Pajuti, a community in the Krato West District, capsized on River Uti. We have the details coming up shortly. Do stay.
Creamy Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Serene, pristine, natural. This is Maha Beach Resort, set on the seafront in Atuabo in the rich oil and gas hub of the western region. The warmth of the resort can fill your soul. Our well-receptive environment brings you home away from home. The strand of beauty detailing the state-of-the-art facility makes your stay even more fun within the well-thought-through architectural features, hosting all sorts of fun games. Maha Beach Resort has an assortment of packages for all occasions. Maha Beach Resort, redefining indigenous hospitality.
Hooray! Harvest Praise is 25 years! Come and let's celebrate 25 years of sharing his story and his praise. Ministering at the Silver Jubilee edition is praise and worship legend Don Moen.
God is good all the time.
The young, sensational and anointed minstrel Moses Bliss. And the host choir, the Evergreen Harvest Gospel Choir. As always, Harvest Theatre will deliver a soul-inspiring drama performance. Join us at the UPSA Auditorium on Good Friday, 7th April 2023, 4 p.m. sharp. Tickets, single, 80 Ghana cedis, double, 150 Ghana cedis, and VIP, 150 Ghana cedis. Dial *725*1155# on all networks and buy your tickets now. Tickets are also available at Airport Shell, Bachelor Total, Sunny 88.7 FM, and all Harvest Chapel branches in Accra. Children are not left out. Children from ages 5 to 12 will enjoy an awesome experience at the HP Kids session featuring King's Kid, Louis Pascal, Casa Harry, and many more. Entry is free for kids once you purchase an adult ticket. Come, let's celebrate. It's the Silver Jubilee. Harvest Praise. Get your praise on. See you there.
Thanks for staying. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has described comments by the Vice President of the United States on LGBTQ issues as undemocratic. The U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, during her engagement with President Akufo-Addo on Monday, said she had addressed the issue with the president and considers it a matter of human rights. Speaking at a breakfast meeting with the clergy, Alban Bagbin took a swipe at the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris. Citi News' Ni Ayekwin Okan has more in the following report. Now, Ni, tell us more on this.
The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, on Tuesday had a breakfast meeting with members of the clergy where he took a swipe at the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris over her comments on LGBT matters during her engagement with President Akufo-Addo.
If it's somewhere else, they will be asking questions, as the Vice President just did yesterday. I mean, these things should not be tolerated. That is undemocratic. What is democracy? That somebody else will have to dictate to me as to what is good and what is bad? Unheard of. Because we have decided to devalue ourselves and go a-begging? Come on. We have more than enough. God has created more than enough for every person. It's just because you are looking at somebody else's share, not yours. We have enough in the world. The bill will be passed. This is the word to His Excellency the President. There is no way he can intervene. That answer he gave. That is now before Parliament. And when he gets to a stage that he will come in. Hey, please. This is legislation. This is not execution. Wait until we pass it and then we direct you to execute it. That is why you come in. That is why we are representatives of the people. So in terms of law, which is part of policy, we finalize it.
The Minister of Information, Kojo Oponkroma, spoke to journalists and appealed to the minority in Parliament as well as relevant stakeholders to support the government's revenue bills, which are currently before the House, in order to assist the government in its domestic revenue mobilization.
What are the tweaks that can be made to the current draft of the bill as is, so that we can find a good middle ground and still close this about 4 billion gap that we need to do on the revenue side. So I'm not even too fixated about arguing with Guta or AGI or somebody. We must find a certain decent middle ground that allows us to close this gap for our collective good. To our colleagues in the minority, I think it is clear as we go along that we need to work together to achieve a certain objective for the country. And so sometimes, yes, we all get, whipped up and whips are put in place that let's do this, let's do that. But I think we have to look at the country's interest at this point in time. The world is ready to help us. China, the Paris Club, the external creditors, we have reason to believe are all with us in a good place now. And they are all looking at us to see whether we as a country will get our act together and help ourselves. So my call, my appeal is to us in government, those in the minority, those in the economic groups, that we all need to find a certain common middle ground and ensure that at the end of the day, these revenue bills pass and we're able to close this 4 billion gap or so, and then be able to cross this threshold for our collective good.
The minority in a press engagement threatened to block any government business from the Finance Ministry due to the non-release of over 6 billion Ghana cedis funds to the District Assembly's Common Fund.
It is quite clear that since 2018, Common Fund is unable to receive an amount of over 6.2 billion Ghana cedi, which is money due in accordance with Article 2522 of the Constitution. And my colleagues on the committee will tell you that it is not an option for government whether to pay the money or not. The money has been collected in terms of tax. It is an illegality for our Honorable Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, not to pay those monies to the assemblies. Today, what it means is that there are many assemblies that staff go to work and do nothing, basically go and sit around the table, do nothing, and close. As a result, the assemblies are unable to provide the services that are required of them. And this is not good for our country. We are calling upon Honorable Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to sit up. It's not as if the money is missing. You collected the monies through taxation. So you have absolutely no right to breach Article 252 of the Constitution.
Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayukwe Okain for Citi News.
Now, still in Parliament, Speaker Alban Bagbin has stressed the need for members of the House to prioritize their health by undergoing regular medical checks. Now, this follows the death of the Member of Parliament for Kumawu, Philip Baswa. The Speaker of the House, members of Parliament and the NPP have been eulogizing the late MP. There is more in this report.
The passing of MP for Kumawu, Philip Baswa, was confirmed in the early hours of Tuesday. This follows a short illness that got him hospitalized on Friday. The NPP constituency chairman for Kumawu has been explaining events leading to the death of the Member of Parliament.
Unfortunately, last Friday, our MP got sick, and we all prayed that he would get better. And about 4 o'clock this morning, I started getting messages of his demise.
Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, while announcing the demise of the MP, urged parliamentarians to take their health needs seriously.
I've been informed that our colleague couldn't make it. And he has transited to the other world. Honorable members, I'm referring to no less a person than the late Philip Baswa.
The MP's demise comes days after the majority in Parliament managed to get the 6 new ministers of President Akufo-Addo approved. Prior to the approval, proceedings were stalled due to his absence from the floor of Parliament. The NPP has been explaining how they got to know of his health situation moments before the voting on the ministers.
We needed all our members of Parliament to be present before the first vote was cast. However, we could not get Honorable Baswa into the chamber. The majority leader indeed reported that to the Speaker of Parliament, that we could not get Honorable Baswa into the chamber because he fell ill in the early hours of the day.
Philip Baswa was the Member of Parliament for Kumawu at the age of only 54. Prior to his role as Member of Parliament, the late Baswa acted as Chief Executive Officer of the Setra East District between January 2005 and 2009. The NPP, on whose ticket he served as Member of Parliament, described the late MP as a long-standing member of the party.
He has been a role model of many, and the kind of work that he has done in his constituency, and the youth that he has mentored, and the events that he has carried out within the constituency, more especially in the stronghold of the New Patriotic Party. Kumawu is not a very small constituency, and Honorable Baswa has held that flag for us.
Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo has extended his sincere condolences to the widow and children of the late MP of Kumawu. He has described the late Baswa as a devoted adherent of the Dankwabuzia Dombo tradition, who never wavered in their belief that the NPP was the only political party that had the welfare of the country at heart. The party in Kumawu has also described him as a grassroots person.
Honorable Baswa, I think he done so well for the party. He started as a party secretary. Then he rose to become the DCE. Then I think he's a 3-time MP for the constituency. So by looking at that, he served as a capacity very well. Baswa is a grassroots guy.
His colleagues in Parliament have expressed shock at the news of his demise.
It is very unfortunate, very sad. The only thing that I will say is I will commensurate with the family, especially the wife. I know it is not going to be easy for her, especially the wife. But in all things, we have to give thanks and glory to God.
It is with deepest sorrow that we receive early this morning the passing of our friend. This, in no doubt, is going to leave us devastated. We can only pray for strong souls.
His demise has also generated conversation about the numbers in Parliament. The NPP seats, which hitherto were 137, including that of the independent member of Parliament, now dwindles momentarily to 136. The NPP as a party, however, says this will not in any way affect the works of the majority in Parliament as they work towards getting approval for the 3 revenue bills expected to be laid before Parliament by Friday. The New Patriotic Party has promised to give a befitting burial to the Member of Parliament once the family comes out with a funeral arrangement. But in line with the dictates of the 1992 Constitution, processes will soon commence for a by-election in Kumewu. According to Article 112, Clause 5 and 6 of the 1992 Constitution, the Clerk of Parliament shall within 7 days after a seat becomes vacant notify the Electoral Commission, who shall hold a by-election within 30 days after the vacancy occurred, provided the vacancy did not occur within 3 months to the holding of a general election. With the processes outlined above yet to kickstart, the NPP says it will concentrate on mourning their loved one.
As we mourn with our brother today, and we've asked the party, all regional constituency officers to fly the flags at half-mast, we still believe that the process to start of this conversation hasn't started yet. And we will wait when we get to that stage. But at this moment, we are very saddened and we are still mourning our brother.
Meanwhile, the NPP in the Kumewu constituency says there exist no threats against the party in Kumewu in case of a by-election.
Not in our lifetime. So far as Kumewu is concerned, it is and will be for NPP at any given time. So our worries goes with the bereaved family who have lost, and we have lost an MP. That's what we are concerned now. But whoever succeeds him, definitely is going to be an NPP guy. That one, there's no question about that.
The New Patriotic Party says it is mourning its late Member of Parliament for Kumewu. However, it will hold on to all conversations on a by-election until processes officially begin from Parliament. Reporting for Citi News, Hansen Ajiman.
Now away from Parliament, 8 persons are reported dead after a boat headed for Bajuti, a community in the Krachi West District, capsized on the River Uti. The accident is alleged to have resulted from the overloading of the boat with about 16 persons for a boat designed to carry just 8 persons. A former assemblyman for Krachi in Chumro, Kingsley Chamba, in a Citi News interview said members of the community often refuse to use life jackets even when they are provided for them. The following report has more.
Normally, it's more cost water coming now. You have to, wash away the water so that until whenever you reach your destination. So it couldn't happen. And the number supposed to be less than 8 members, but the numbers are boats in our fund was about 15 or 16, including children. We lost 4 of the children, including them. We have informed it's what you say is the twin sister district, Krachi West and Krachi Chumuru. So the funeral is around Krachi West, and they are coming from Krachi Chumuru. So DISEC and NADMO will be meeting this afternoon. Both districts, Municipal Chief Executive and the DC, as I said, DISEC will be meeting the NADMO.
You're still live on the Citi Newsroom, still to come. Former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dofo and businessman Ernest Kweku Kobi are vetted by their party, the NDC, for the flag bearer position. We're back shortly with the details. Please stay.
Wow, this place has changed, yo! Yo, Adra, look at you all grown up, yo!
Some things never change, like Gino's quality recipe that gives my food that rich color, unique natural taste every time.
Smells good, yo!
Hey, sister, with the wap sano and kasa, just like I remember.
Uncle, hurry up and let's open the suitcase.
Ajua, try, na me shrink coin pa.
Best jollof I've ever eaten.
Wow, this is real jollof, mommy.
Gino dear, am I drowning at the ankasa?
Say Gino dear, fie. It's delicious, yo!
This advert is FDA approved.
I don't bomb na me, mommy. Wow. Ah. No, we're trying to paper so mommy.
I don't know to stick ana.
Me pen the POS machine. Hello. Baby, tonight dinner at 7. Bye.
The winning numbers are 10, 12.
Sorry. I won.
Joy! Your lottery experience just got better with the new NLA instant payments. Play on the NLA machine, and if you win up to 1,200 Ghana cedis, you will be paid instantly without any stress via short code *389*1000#. Payments above 1,200 Ghana cedis can be redeemed at the newly established payment centers.
Hey!
NLA instant payment and a paying grind.
Wait, guys, bring more.
NLA development through games.
Thanks for staying. Let's now talk politics. Former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Duffuor and businessman Ernest Kweku Kobia on Tuesday morning faced the committee to be vetted as NDC flag-bearer candidates. Their vetting follows that of former President John Dramani Mahama, which took place on Monday. Citi News' Akuso Ocho was at the party's headquarters and has filed this report.
It's day 2 of the vetting for flag-bearer aspirants here at the headquarters of the National Democratic Congress. Today, we're expecting to see 2 of the aspirants, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, who is also a former finance minister, and also a businessman, Ernest Kweku Kobia, to appear before the 12-member committee, which is spearheading this particular vetting exercise. A number of supporters from Ernest Kweku Kobia's side have arrived here to throw their support for the businessman. But Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, his campaign team says they did not invite supporters to come here today because they felt that the vetting process today was a serious one and that they needed some sort of serene environment to have their aspirants coming here to go through his vetting peacefully and successfully. The vetting started at 10:30 a.m., a few minutes before 12. Dr. Kwabena Duffuor was done with his vetting. And so the campaign team lead for Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, who is also a former member of Parliament for Ablekuma South, Fritz Balfour, has been speaking about what transpired at the vetting. Close to 2 hours. How did it go?
It went very, very well. We have a very good candidate in Dr. Duffuor. He's eloquent. He knows what he's about. And so naturally the committee was very interested in hearing his opinions on various things concerning the Republic of Ghana and the people of Ghana.
Yesterday we were here. We saw a number of members of parliament coming in to support former President John Dramani Mahama. Today, apart from Neil Vanderbilt, who is also on the elections committee, we've not really spotted any member of parliament.
Ours was a low-key appearance. All right, this was supposed to be devoid of a crowd. When we came to file our nomination, we were followed by the grassroots, and Dr. Dufour is a man of the grassroots. The members of parliament whom I respect and used to be my colleagues have their opinions, but I think that we didn't orchestrate anything. We came here low-key because this was a vetting. It was a very, very serious approach. The filing of the nomination was a bit of a fanfare, so we came with a lot of people and we had fun.
Are you sure you'll be cleared by the committee?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
So former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufour is done with his vetting, and you heard from the campaign team lead, Fritz Bafo, who has been speaking to us on what transpired at that particular vetting. But the next to face the vetting committee is businessman Ernest Korbia. His supporters are here all the way from different parts of the country to support him as he goes in there to face the vetting committee. But I'll just speak to one of his supporters who have come here. Why are you supporting Ernest Korbia?
Oh, Ernest Korbia is a youth, and we realize that we have voted for many people that have grown up and they normally play with the mind of the youth. So we found out this era, 2024, we are going to elect a youth person so that we will give the youth more works to do. But we realize that we have so many lands in the country that we need to employ the youth in the agriculture sector so that people will get work to do, so that at least in terms of farming will increase, so that people will get food to buy. But we realize that most of the goods are being exported from other countries to Ghana, and this always increase our exchange rates. That's the reason why our city is always depreciating.
You know, our people, they are very good, and they welcome me, talk to me, a father and son, and much appreciate to our leaders. I'm well known on NDC party. When I went down there, all my fathers and everyone, they know me and they congratulate me for the hard work I did for the party. I want to give the future for Ghanaians, and also to let all the NDC people know that they have the men to do their job.
What are you bringing on board?
To build a new Ghana and to give financial freedom to the nation.
Businessman Ernest Korbia is done with his vetting and is also confident of winning the election come May 13, 2023. While he's been talking more about bringing the youth on board, we are yet to see what happens on Wednesday as former mayor of Kumasi, Kojo Bonsu, also comes here at the party headquarters to face the vetting committee. Reporting for Citi News from the national headquarters of the National Democratic Congress. My name is Akosi Aochi.
Now in some other news, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has refuted reports that government owes some seedling providers over 2.5 billion cedis for supplying seedlings for the tree planting exercise during the Green Ghana Day celebrations for 2021 and 2022. Now the government says the quoted amount is outrageous. It owes only 28 million cedis. The following report has more.
Contracted to provide seedlings for the government's tree planting exercise under the Green Ghana project had earlier lamented how they were constantly being harassed by banks they secured loans from to procure the seedlings. They claimed that the government owed them over 2.5 billion cedis and that several engagements with the government to pay have been unsuccessful despite many assurances. But a Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Benito Owusubio, says the government owes contractors only 28 million cedis and it is doing all it can to pay up.
When somebody just mentions to you that you owe me 2.5 billion, do you understand the magnitude of it? Please, we don't owe anyone 2.5 billion. Yes, government owes for 2021 and 2022. In all, it's 28 million Ghana cedis. So where from that 2.5 billion? Let's report the facts as it is. Yes, we are in discussion with the Ministry of Finance and hopefully we know they will release funding for us to be able to settle that debt. Yes, thank you. But this is all to assure those people, the seedling providers, that yes, we are working and to ensure that they are paid.
The Deputy Minister gave this clarification when he toured some parts of Accra to inspect some trees planted at some selected sites of the Green Ghana project. The areas visited were the Achimota Forest, University of Ghana, among others. Addressing the media, he indicated that despite some peculiar challenges, the survival rates during the 2021 and 2022 Green Ghana project were positive.
They've struggled, but they have survived. Some of them are, in fact, flourishing. When I say flourishing, I mean they are growing even more than expected. But others too, I would say, are struggling a bit. But the good thing is that with what we've seen so far, I think we can all attest to the fact that the ones that have withered are just very few. In fact, in Achimota Forest itself, we didn't see any seedling that had died. Yes, all of them, we didn't see any casualty. All of them have survived. And likewise, in the school woodlot here too. But over here, they are struggling. But with the rains coming in, we know they will all survive and do well.
Mr. Ozubio, however, attributed the non-survival of some of the seedlings to the unfavorable weather conditions and some deliberate human activities.
The main particular factor is inadequate rainfall, the weather conditions, yes. And then a few areas where you have somebody to going in after trying to do agriculture. Although we planted there, that person still feels he still want to do agriculture. For somebody like that, if we don't, if the people responsible don't see him to stop him early enough, then we have him destroying the seedlings. But then, apart from this, I would say it's still a beginning. This exercise of tree planting and nurturing trees in Ghana, I would say this as a national exercise is still the beginning. Gradually, everyone will come on board and will understand. And we are not going to relent. We'll keep on doing it.
The Electricity Company of Ghana has disconnected 3 blocks at the Osu Barracks of the Ghana Police Service over illegal connection. The task force discovered the illegality during the National Revenue Mobilization exercise. Meanwhile, at the Ghana Post Head Office in Accra, staff of the company held the task force hostage for about 30 minutes after the company was disconnected over illegal connection valued at 89,000 cedis. Fredo Ho was with the task force and has more.
The Electricity Company of Ghana National Task Force, that is on the revenue mobilization to retrieve some 5.7 billion Ghana cedis as debt on its goods, has since moved to the Adan enclave within the Greater Accra region. The very first place we visited is the Kemat Hotel in Adan itself, where a certain man owes to the tune of about 200,000 Ghana cedis.
In your shots is the National Task Force from the Electricity Company of Ghana. They've just taken off the hotel here off the national grid. The hotel by name Kemat Hotel, located in the Adan district of the Greater Accra region, has been taken off the national grid. And we understand they are noted for reconnection. They are notorious for reconnection. Anytime the task force come around to disconnect them from the national grid, and that the local or the district office of the ECG are unable to really enforce taking off their monies they owe. We understand they owe to the tune of about 500,000 Ghana cedis, but they are unable to pay. And ever since the ECG task force normally engaged them, they are unable to come to any amicable conclusion. So they've since been taken off by the national task force from the national grid, and they were taken off the pool. In this case, the task force is hoping to monitor and ensure that anytime they are reconnected without making adequate payments, they will take them on with the law enforcement agency. In that case, the police would be invited to effect any arrest of the management of this particular hotel within the Adan district.
From there, we've moved to another company, which is a banana plantation that is engaged in export of banana out of this country, and they also owe to the tune of about 180 million Ghana cedis. The ECG won't have any of that. They've come to have talks with management to see if they'll be able to redeem about 50% of their indebtedness, after which, if talks break down, they may proceed to disconnect this particular facility as well.
The task force is basically going to take this particular factory from the national grid. They are taking it from source. They don't want to have anything to do with the meter. They want to take it right from source, so that when they need power, they would call them to come back after settling their debts. They will be able to reconnect them to the national grid. So that is what we have taking place currently. And you see, it's been disconnected from the national grid.
You send picture of the check, then we generate invoice for you, then you put it together with the check, and you take it to the bank.
So I am giving now you connect this one. I am giving right now.
No, I cannot take it. Even if it's ready now,
I am ready.
Yes, I know. You have to send me a picture. We'll do the invoice, then you take it to the bank. We cannot take it to the bank for you.
I am right now. I am giving you. Stop that people. You stop my. I am begging my.
No, we have to go to the next place. So you send me the picture of the check. We'll generate the invoice for you.
Coming this far, one would say you are quite aggressive this time around. What is chasing you?
Our debts are chasing us, just as we are chasing our customers too. Be kind enough to pay some of the money, so all the monies they owe us, because we need to settle most of the people who generate power for us and those on the value chain, essentially.
And that's how we wrap up. This has been the Citi Newsroom. Visit our website, citinewsroom.com, for more news updates. Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV.